Welcome to the ThunderCast, your martial athletics podcast produced by the fans, for the fans. We're bringing you the thundering word on the thundering herd each and every week. So keep it right here. The ThunderCast is on the loose.
Thank you for downloading another episode of the ThunderCast. Russ and Jed back with the midweek. And Jed, our backgrounds look different. And that's because you're at home and I'm in a hotel room in Louisville, courtesy of herdhotels.com. I booked that for my work trip. And we're going to, even though we have to do this, we're still going to do it because our fans need to get this news.
Yeah, absolutely. I was, you and I were just talking before we jumped on that I need to get my home set up a little cleaned up. My office setup's pretty good, but I've recorded enough from home now that I need to liven up my deal here a little bit.
I did not redecorate the Staybridge Suites in Louisville, but I'm here nonetheless. Jed, we got a lot, and we got a lot to get into. You and KD just had a crap load of things to go over last week, and we got more this week. But before we do all that, I'm going to get a word from our sponsors at Leasure Oliver PLLC.
If you've been hurt in a wreck, call the law firm of Leasure Oliver PLLC. Find them at 304carwreck.com.
All right, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure that you hit that subscribe button. It's free. You know, it says subscribe, but that's basically, just so you get notifications when we get that. So get an account set up, hit subscribe, and you'll get a notification every single time. You don't have to wait for a post on social media or someone to say, hey, did you see the latest episode? You'll get it when we publish it. And if you're listening on your favorite audio app, do the same. It's free there. All of our content will always be free from the ThunderCast. And that's thanks to our sponsors. And speaking of, we have to thank ignite.link because we're getting ready to do 5 things.
And now, here are at least 5 things every herd fan needs to know this week. As always, brought to you by ignite.link, the Tri-State's premier IT management team.
All right, Jed, we're going to hop right into it. And number 1 is Bryce Blevins was named the Sun Belt Conference Baseball Pitcher of the Week. This was his first time in the 2026 season, but he's no stranger to this award because it's the 5th time overall that he's been named to this award. Stats real quick for you: 8 1/3 innings. 1 run is all he gave up, 1 earned run, struck out 7. Another Bryce Blevins-ish game.
Yeah. No, man, it's he's Bryce Blevins doing Bryce Blevins things, right? Man, he's doing, obviously he was collecting that hardware last year, putting on a good show. He's doing that again this year. Doing a great job. We'll talk a little bit more about this ODU series here and around the herd, but man, big congrats to that guy. He's doing big things and helping this herd team win games. So, man, congrats to him.
When he is on, he's dialed in, he's on, man. And, that lefty delivery, it's just something that we have taken for granted over the last now 2.5, 3 seasons or whatever, that when he pitches, we've got a really good chance to win because you score 4 or 5 runs, you should be good. We're going to keep it with Diamond Sports for number 2, softball, now ranked 25th in D1 softball's top 25, not the mid-major top 25, but the overall top 25. And the other things with that, they are ranked 2nd in mid-major top 25 for D1 softball. And in Softball America's equivalent poll for the mid-major top 25, they're 4th.
Yeah, we talked about this last week on the podcast where their RPI was at 25. And they started receiving a few votes for that top 25. And we discussed, if softball just keeps doing what softball's been doing, we're going to crack that top 25. And here we are, man. Like, just what what a fun team to watch. What a, just a great group of players, great group of coaches, and just, I mean, winning gets it done. And it doesn't hurt that you've had a pretty good schedule, hence the higher RPI. But you're playing tougher teams, you're winning your games, and it's about time that that we get recognized for that effort. So, I mean, that's great. Top 25. Let's keep it rolling.
Yeah, the last that I saw, and I'm trying to find it here again, but going into that final game, they were 20th in RPI, and I'm trying to see here if that has changed. Nope, still got them at 20th. Obviously, tops amongst all mid majors in RPI, but 20th in RPI. They had the 2 games against Florida State at Florida State. Florida State's in the top. They're 16th. 2 games against Florida at Florida. They're 3rd in RPI. So, there's for your 10 losses right there. 40% of your losses are to top 16 teams, one of them 3rd in the nation. So, go ahead.
We've won 27 of the last 30. And we have, this team is ridiculous, but in a good way. I mean, you're talking 9 straight wins, and we're leading the conference right now, 2-game lead in the Sun Belt. This team is so this is the plug, we'll talk again and around the herd, but this is the plug that if you haven't had a chance to go to a game yet, go to a game, support this team, watch them as you get the opportunity, because they're making a lot of noise and they're winning. What more can you ask for?
Great series that we're going to talk about in Around the Herd for you to go and support, and we'll get to that in a little bit. Number 3, we're going to keep it with softball. Jules King picked up her 6th save of the season for softball. Totally missed putting this in last week where she, had the record, but she broke her own record and has for the last couple of saves for the most saves in a season. She's now got 6. One more save, though, ties her for the career record at Marshall with Christy Waring from the 95 through 98 seasons. That would, she's got 8 right now. Waring has the record with 9. So not like what you hear in college baseball, not what you hear in Major League Baseball with the number of saves and everything. It's a little bit different because you have so many complete games in softball. But Marshall's record book, Jules King, has a chance to rewrite it. Already has for a single season, but man, we've got 11 games left or something. So a lot of chances here to add to the single, but also tie and then surpass on the career.
Right. Well, and we've talked about, on these last few podcasts and following out throughout the season, just, you've got, Jules King and these other athletes. I mean, there's a reason why this team is winning games, and they're winning, sometimes handedly. I mean, it's just running away with it. And it's because you've got these record-breaking athletes, setting records, winning, these multiple Sun Belt awards throughout the week and things like that. So you've got a team full of really good players, and Jules King has an opportunity here to, like you said, rewrite the record book. And I mean, she's got, a lot of opportunities to do that coming up. So congrats to her. And that's a great accomplishment.
I think we've been talking a lot about the killer bees and the offense, but in the circle, what we've done this season is just ridiculously good. And I know that we're going to have a lot more stats about that over the next coming weeks of just how good our pitching has been, but how prolific our offense has been. Defense has been great. It's just been top to bottom a great team. Don't think that we will see the regular season breaking of the record from 2024 because of the schedule that we played. We played a brutal schedule out of conference early, and in 2020, maybe it was 2023, I can't remember, 2023 I think, but the 2023 team, the schedule was nowhere near what this one is. So it's just hard to compare the two, but this is an amazing team top to bottom. Number 4, we're going to switch over these next couple. We've been talking about who entered the transfer portal for basketball. Well, we pulled a couple in. Number 4, men's basketball picks up transfer power forward Boubacar Gigo, already in the top 10 all-time names for Marshall. Cannot wait to say that name all the time. Boubacar Gigo from Concord right here in West Virginia. 6'8", 237 pounds, senior to be, was the Mountain East Conference Defensive Player of the Year, like that already, averaging 16.5 points, 13.3 rebounds per game. He'll have 1 season of eligibility remaining. Jed, before I kick it to you for your thoughts, I have said for the longest time that we need a defensive-minded post presence that just is a vacuum cleaner on the boards. And in this offense from D'Antoni now to Corny Jackson, same kind of offense, little bit of tweaks, that if you had that post player that was just a presence down low, that it would go. And we've had some, right, the last few years.
Yeah.
But this guy, if he comes up and, well, first let me throw it to you, and then I'll get some thoughts. I don't want to hog all this, and then I'll have a final thought here.
No, you're good. You're good. And I think you bring up a really good point is, we've struggled traditionally with rebounds, with a defensive presence. I mean, we've got the offense that can go out and score points, but when we have those those games where we're kind of just slogging, we're trading defensive punches, we're not putting up 70, 80 points in a game. We've really struggled to maintain a defensive presence. Getting those defensive rebounds, limiting those extra opportunities for the other team. And so this is great. I think that's one of the things that if you look even through the D'Antoni years with his teams, is a lot of times we just out-offensed teams, and that's how we would
That's
win.
right.
It wasn't that, we weren't going to keep them under 60. We were going to you guys can go ahead and score 90. We'll score 99, type thing. So, but I really think that, as Coach Jackson brings in, a little bit of a flavor of his style in, I think defense is important, because there are times when you can't just, run the other team out of the gym offensively, and getting some defensive minded players, getting players that have experience, right? Defensive Player of the Year in that conference. He's got a lot of experience. He's coming in, he's going to step right in and understand what's required of him. He's played, ball all his life to this point in the college arena. So I think a great get for Coach Jackson. Very excited to see, how this team's going to look.
Yeah. So my thoughts were, I was going to say he's at Concord, and that's not Marshall, and that's not facing Sun Belt talent in the out of conference schedule that we're going to have. So I'm not going to just plug and play his stats and say, oh, we're picking up a guy that's going to be over 15 points, over 16 points, and 13 rebounds. But we say shooters shoot, players play. I'm going to say that rebounders rebound, and I'm going to say defenders defend. And I think that if his offense does not translate to 16 plus points a game in the Sun Belt, it's totally fine. I think if, he gets you 8 to 10 a game, somewhere in that range, just on putbacks, get an offensive board and a putback. That's 2. That's you got to get 4 or 5 of those a game is all you got to do.
Yeah.
And that's if he does not evolve his offensive game, or it translates up here. That's all you need to do is get some putbacks, or a wide open for a dunk or something like that. It doesn't take a lot. The rebounds is what I'm more concerned about, and I hope that he gives us 10 plus a game at the D1 level. He's going to have a good opportunity to do so, because right now he is the 4th player on our roster that we have right now. So, I know that we're going to have more than that once the season comes, but he's right now the guy. I'm not saying the guy. He's the guy at his position, because he's the only one we have. Eric Harding's a center, and then we've got one power forward. We got a small forward / shooting guard, and another small forward shooting guard. We have got to get a lot more people in here
Right.
before we know where they're going to be. But as of right now, we're looking at this is our post defender, this is our big rebounder.
Well, and that's the nice thing too, or the good thing rather, with what Coach Jackson's doing is, this may be a lower level conference, it's Concord, but when you're the best, you're deemed the best at something in your conference, even at a lower level. I mean, how many times have we pulled, in other sports, like in football, pull kids up from the FCS level that were high performers there, and they've come into our system at the higher level and performed very well. Because I mean, if you're the best at something or right at the very, very top, even if it's at a lower level, it may not translate 1-to-1 like you mentioned, with the points and things like that. But I think that's you're getting an impact player. You're not getting a middle of the pack person at a lower level. You're bringing in someone who's going to be more than likely an impact player. So, you've got to be creative with your recruiting. You've got to, especially when you're building from scratch. So I think this is a good grab for Coach Jackson. I'm excited to see how the rest of this goes.
Let's say he comes in as a defender and, being defensive player of the year. He only had like around 1 block per game. So it wasn't like he was getting that from blocks. It looks like he's getting that from preventing the other opponent, the guy he's guarding, from scoring. He's getting those rebounds, but he's making it tough on them. So let's say we're facing a guy that gets 16 a game in the post, and he's only allowing that guy to get 10. Well, that's as good as scoring 6 additional points, that you're not getting. So I'm going to take it that we have this guy right now as a very good get. I can't wait to see more of him in practice, exhibition, that sort of thing, to see how his game translates. But I'm optimistic with it. Good size, and he's got a frame that he could put a little more weight and strength on as well. So we'll see where he's at this fall. All right, number 5, same vein, Cassie Gallagher, who's committed to women's basketball. South Carolina upstate guard, averaged 15.7 points a game, shooting right at 40%, 39.8 from behind the arc. Has 2 seasons of eligibility remaining. Leading scorer for her team, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, very good. I mean, we've got unfortunately, we're graduating some people. We've lost some people in the portal. The work starts now. I mean, the work probably
It does.
in a way started earlier, but work starts now. We gotta reload, and she's coach is already in the portal, working. So yeah, excited to see who else she goes after and how this team develops over the off season.
Yeah, one thing is we've seen over the past couple of years, Coach Fulks has brought in players and they've immediately fit her system. So I think she has a good eye for that. And with who we have returning, I think this will be a really good fit as well. Number 6, the Marcos were held Monday night, and I am not going to run through all those. But I will just say that there is an article on Herd Zone, and it's been shared over on social media. I've seen it on Facebook. I've seen it on Twitter. Go to that, and this is one of the coolest things. It's kind of like the ESPYs on ESPN, but this is awards for all the Herd athletes. And then they also had for the first time ever, the Big Green Donor of the Year, and it wasn't who donated the most money. They selected Trish Nash because her and her husband for around 40 years now has been loyal to donating to Marshall and things like that. So I thought that was really cool. But go check out that article. Anything you want to say about it? I just want to say this is a very cool thing that we did over the past 4 years, 5 years, instituting this program. I think the first one was held at Keith Albee in 2022. And then afterwards, this has just been a really cool thing for the Herd athletes.
Yeah, I think it's great, because you've got a lot of players who have contributed, or athletes have contributed to their respective sport. that may not get a Sun Belt award or recognized in that fashion, but this gives them the opportunity to recognize these athletes and for a bunch of different things and recognize them for the efforts they put in. I think that's fantastic. And then also for that the new big green recognition. I think that's really cool too, because there are people that may have not, written $100,000 checks or $1 million checks, but have consistently, she's written a $100 check for 40 years. It's a lot of money,
Yeah.
contributed over a long period of time, and just and I think it's great to recognize those people. It's because that's the big green. That's who's supporting these athletes and these scholarships and that's that $100 or 1,000 or whatever it is, small or large, it all helps. And it's very cool that they're now instituting that.
Yeah, and as a donor, anyone out there, if you're in that used to be $60 minimum, now you're in the $100 minimum this year and forward. If you are in that level, but you're also responsible for getting 10 of your friends, well, you're just as good as doing $1,000, So kudos to everybody that is a Big Green member and contributing, because that's what's needed. Number 7, the athletic department budget that was just approved includes new turf for the indoor practice facility, new lights for the football stadium. Both of those projects are privately funded, so they are moving forward. It has already been approved with the Board of Governors meeting on that. And it was kind of announced under the radar, Jed. KD and I talked about it on Monday night when we recorded. But it said the lights would be installed prior to the first game, and that game would be a night game, which would showcase the lights. So, a little bit under the radar. And I want to give you a little bit of a peel back the curtain. I'm on the Big Green Foundation board, and this has been talked about for a long time. This has been planned for a long time. It is going to be LED, of course. You're not going to put in an outdated lighting system, but it's going to be LED. And even though it wasn't in this announcement, even though we haven't had a board meeting about this, I'm going to take off my Marshall football hat and put on my speculation hat that I can almost confirm this is going to be the color changing LED lights that react to the music. So when Thunderstruck is played, it will be just like when Thunderstruck is played when you have the herd lights for the Cam Henderson Center, on your phone. Well, you're going to see those flashing lights and color changing, green and white back and forth, but you can do a lot of different things with it. So I just think it's going to be super cool. It'll add to the experience. It's something the fans have been wanting for a long time, but it's something the athletic department had planned for a long time. Some of these things take time, and especially a privately funded thing. I'm glad it's moving forward.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And a lot of times I think we forget that when like there are things as would you call simple as lights, but we'll say things as simple as lights need to
Yeah.
be replaced at a certain
Yeah.
point. The indoor turf, I mean, in that facility gets used all the time.
Yeah.
And so
Several
it's always fun to get new projects, getting a new baseball stadium, getting a new this building here and this thing that, and but it's important to make sure that that we're keeping up with the maintenance and of the current facilities. And this is a response to that, and being privately funded is awesome.
Yeah.
But no, I'm excited. I think that's going to be fun. First night game. There's a lot of cool things you can do with those LED lights. I'm sure they're going to put on a show, and I think that being a night game is going to be a great opportunity for that. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see that. I think it's going to be really, really cool.
I'm excited for the lights, but I'm excited for that all day tailgating with possibly 2 smokers that KD and I were talking about. But more to come on that. Number 8, women's basketball coach Julie Fulks has been extended. Comes off that WNIT win. Just she's a winner everywhere she goes. I think we got another home run higher with this, and Her contract now runs through the 2030-2031 season, but has options for future years past that. So, extended her contract. No details about, that with money or how many years that, if she got a bump, for starting next year or whatever. It just says extended, and that gives her another, let's see, 5 more seasons that will have her plus options for a couple more.
Yeah, I think that was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
She's year 2. Wins a WNIT tournament. I know it's not the NCAA tournament. I know it's a lower tier, but the fact that you can go into a lower tier tournament and run roughshod through it, putting up the largest win numbers ever for Marshall girls basketball, women's basketball, and doing it in year 2, following head coach leaves, then you get a 1-year head coach. And then you've got, then year 2 of this head coach. We talked about this in previous episodes. We've got graduating seniors that have had 3 coaches during their tenure here.
They had 3 coaches in 3 years.
And so they're, it's so what she was able to do in just 2 years, like I said, it's no brainer. You give her the time to continue to, go through her recruiting cycles, build her team to fit her, to fit her strategy and her style and things like that. And, winning cures all, right? You go out, you put a winning and exciting product on the court. Fans are going to come and watch. It's going to help with your recruiting. And like you said, she's been a winner everywhere she's at.
Everywhere,
no brainer. I just there's why not do it? I would have been surprised if they hadn't. So great move. Excited to have her here, continue to be here, and looking forward to next season.
Any recruits that find themselves watching this, I hope that they know if you come here to Marshall, you'll get developed by Julie Fulks. You'll be a part of a winning program here under Julie Fulks. So I know she's going to do great things here. I cannot wait to watch it, and I cannot wait to see the talent that comes here to be a part of it. Jed, our 9th and final thing. Men's soccer beat Ohio State 2-0 in the finals of the College Spring League on their home turf. And that was four games, 0 goals, all clean sheets. Third time since we started doing this that Marshall has won the College Spring League.
Well, and over the last few years too, we've come out very, very strong in the fall. And I mean, we're showcasing, just how good this team is and how talented they are. One of the things that people with short memories probably forget was the fact that we were so, we had so many injuries going into the college, or even to the tail end of our season last year, and going into the College Cup. The number of injuries that we had and the struggles that we had, people playing in positions they hadn't played in all year to cover, and we still went into the College Cup and still had success to a degree. And I know it was a disappointing end of the season last year, but a lot of that was due to the fact that we were pulling in from our depth to compete. So this just goes to show that when we're at our full strength, Coach Grassi, why the statue has not been built yet is just defies all logic to me. But he's going to have this team ready. He's going to have these recruits ready, and when they're at full strength, watch out, man. Like this, this team.
I think the only reason we haven't done it is because a statue is not good enough.
Yeah, right.
But no, I'm with you, man. And when we were on our third keeper of the season, and we were out one of the defensive players of the country, for the first half of the season or the first third of the season or whatever it was. But College Spring League, keep signing us up. We're going to keep making the finals. We're going to keep making some noise. We're going to keep stacking trophies. No one else has won 2. We've now won 3 since this started. Jed, that does it for 5 things this week, with 4 additional for 9 things every Herd fan needs to know this week. And thanks again to our friends at ignite.link.
Yeah, man, we had a doozy of a episode last week. Katie and I did, and with I think it was like 137 things last week, and then
13.
there are and 9 this way. I mean, it's just there's so much going on, man. There's always
Yeah.
something going on. This is a very busy time of year, even though we're going to be winding down athletics before too terribly long. I mean, we're already halfway through April, but it's a very very busy time of year. So, lot to talk about, man.
Yeah, it just shows you each and every week that we have done this for now more than 4 years.
Mhm.
We're in April of 2026. We started it in April of 2022. Every single week that we've had an episode, which has been all but about 3, we have had 5 things plus, at least
Yeah,
5 things. So,
absolutely.
uh, but anyway, that does it for 5 things.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and take it around the herd and get the heck out of here.
Yeah, thanks to Layer 1 Solutions.
And now, Layer 1 Solutions, your experts in business connectivity infrastructure, takes you around the herd.
If you've been listening to the podcast for any amount of time over the last few weeks to few months, there should be a name that should ring familiar to you. Trayshawn Smith, track and
Mhm.
field, did what he does best. Won the men's triple jump at the Tennessee Invite. And the official recap says the weekend also included my notes are. I just lost my notes here. He jumped. Excuse me. Sorry, Russ. My notes got
I've got it.
messed
I'll
up
I'll
here.
just while you get it,
Yeah,
15.41
yeah.
meters, just a couple of hundredths off of that top 3 that him and Omat and everybody Hamby that keep taking it back and forth. I think it's 15.45 is number 1,
Yep.
15.44 is number 2, 15.43 is number 3. So he won this event down at Tennessee in SEC country,
Mhm.
15.41 meter jump.
Yep. Got my notes back here now. So yeah, I cut off there. So no, fantastic. I mean, showing. I mean, obviously he's a name that's been very familiar in the 5 things and around the herd, which is very very awesome. There's a bunch of I think I don't know if you mentioned this or not. While I was looking here, there were a bunch of other podium finishes and personal bests as well.
Mhm.
I'm not going to rattle through those right now, but we've talked about this in the past with track and field where there's been a consistent over the last few years, a
Mhm.
consistent increase in personal bests, breaking records, and things like that, which goes to show that this is a program continuing to rise and perform and get better and better as the years progress.
Yeah, 6 podium finishes. Crazy good, to be in the top 3. Again, this is at the Tennessee Invite. So this is against some good track and field programs that we came in with a lot of top 3 finishes here. And again, the personal best, the all-time top 5s, that we just continue to have these athletes rewrite the top 5 history books for track and field, and you love to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to swing on over to women's golf. Just as a update, the SBC tournament will be running Monday through Thursday of next week. We're already here.
Hard to believe it's already here. But yeah, love to see a good showing in that. Brooke Burkhammer, the coach, and her squad. Love to see them make a good run here individually and as a team.
Yep, good opportunity to do so. Well, we're going to take it on over to tennis. Beat Dayton 5-2. So getting back into that win column. Great to see that.
Yep. Hosting Miami, Ohio Friday at 1. And then after that, I think it starts the rest of the Sun Belt Conference schedule leading up to the tournament. But yeah, nice to get back in the win column there against Dayton. Hope we have that again against those dastardly Miami, Ohio. They every I just want to beat them in everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So do I. So take it to them, ladies, on Friday, and we'll bring you the scores and everything next week. Moving over to women's soccer. Also participating in some spring activities. Had exhibition matches against University of Charleston and Northern Kentucky. As of right now, we don't have any posted results, I don't believe. But it's regardless, whether win, lose, draw, what have you.
It's
We've talked
playing.
about this
That's all
before,
you.
Russ. It's playing in
Yeah,
the spring. I
that's
mean,
right.
soccer is. I'll just ask my kids if I allowed it. It would be a year-round sport, and a lot of people play it year-round. And if we're going to be in the top echelon of college soccer, you've got to play in the spring. And so they're doing that, which is fantastic. Glad that they're doing that under the new coach heading into year 3.
Yeah.
Really excited to see what this team's going to look like.
Yeah, and we talked about it when Coach Rafa came in. He has had them playing. I think last year, I can't remember how many over the summer. I think it was everybody on the team was playing in some kind of summer league, some professional team league or whatever. But this college exhibitions and then that, it's just familiarity between them. And so they can play as a team and they can grow. And it's, you've seen it on the men's side and we're seeing it on the women's side. The trajectory of what we expected here in year 2 for women's soccer under Coach Samos was exactly what we thought we'd see. And now we're looking, we've turned that corner. Now I look for us to make a real move toward the conference championship. I'm not trying to put pressure on them. I'm just saying that, it would not shock anyone to see that, right? So this is a big part of that, the exhibition games in the spring.
Absolutely. And if anyone's listening, if you have those scores or if you were able to go to those games and have that, if you just wouldn't care, either DM us or add us on Twitter or Facebook, because I would like to know. I wasn't able to attend those. I would like to know the score of those and how the games went.
Northern Kentucky was away and we were at that weekend. We were doing our thing over on the spring game and the tailgate and all that. But yeah, we always we don't want to leave any sport out, but where there are exhibition games, in the off season, they usually don't post those for like volleyball and for even softball and baseball when they're doing fall ball. So any exhibitions over the off season, they generally don't get a write up. So we'd love to pass that on. We just don't have the info.
Yep. All right. Well, we're going to take it on to baseball. Finally, getting back into some winning here, which is I'm really excited to see. Won the home series against ODU, winning the first one 8-1, losing 4-1, but bringing it back, winning 7-5. So got our first series win in a minute, and couldn't happen against a better team.
Hard fought game there on Sunday to get that series win. It could have went either way, us or ODU, and got that really good effort from Bryce Blevins in the game he pitched to get us that series win. The bats came out when they needed to in this. They just did not in the second game, but no matter what, won the series, moving on.
Yep. Tonight, as we record, which is Wednesday evening, they are playing at Ohio State for that midweek game, and then we'll be traveling to South Alabama on Friday at 7:30 p.m., playing again Saturday at 3 p.m., and then Sunday at 1 p.m. Then they'll be returning back to the Jack next Wednesday at 11 a.m. That's right, 11 a.m., hosting Morehead State.
Yeah, it reminds me of the Reds has the Tuesday businessman special or whatever, that you can go up and catch a day game. So anybody that wants to play hooky from work, or if you work evenings or whatever, it's a great time to go watch a baseball game at the Jack. Get over there and watch an 11 a.m. game. But let's pick up another few wins before we get to that point. Right now, the last thing that I've seen, this was 17 minutes ago on Twitter. Ohio State is up 6-5 So Marshall they just tacked on that run to go to 6-5. So got a good chance to win this one.
Yeah, that'd be great.
It's going into the bottom of the sixth, or it's probably in the bottom of the sixth, top of the seventh, or something like that now.
Yeah, that'd be great to pick up. It's always nice to knock off a Big Ten team, even if it's in baseball or any sport or soccer for that matter. Always great to knock to knock them down a peg or two. Let's take it on over to softball. We'll wrap it up with this. As we mentioned in the five things, they did sweep Coastal Carolina, winning 6-3 in the first game, 5-4 in the second game, and then making a statement with a 15-7 win to close out the series.
Yeah, that last game on Sunday, man, it was like there were a couple of big bombers for Coastal that have been doing it all year, and one of them hit her second homer of the game or something like that. And big 3-run shot. One of them, they said, went 260 feet dead center, and I mean, she crushed it. I was watching the game, but every time that would happen, Marshall would just go, all right, well, let's just drop 4 or 5 on them, So big time win. When you get to the game for tonight, it's already over. So I've got that. I want to say here this, right from it ended 16 minutes ago, or that's when the tweet came out. Marshall Softball's account on Twitter said Sydney Burko hits her 17th. Ava Blake hits number 15, but the 9-game winning streak comes to an end. We lose at Ohio 4-2. So just not enough bats. Got 2 homers by 2 of the killer bees, but not enough to get the win. And I hate to see that because just making the top 25 in one of the rankings, and then this happened.
Yeah.
So it's just looking for these top 4 power conferences or whatever to have an excuse to exclude Marshall now because they finally dropped one on the road.
Which, midweek game on the road. I mean, that stuff happens. Doesn't matter, generally who you play.
Yep.
I hate that it was to the Bobcats, but these things happen. But this team's going to continue to do what this team does. They're going to perform at a very high level, and they're going to keep winning. So, you drop out of 25. Well, we'll just get right back in it.
That's right.
So, unfortunately, losing that game this evening. They do have a huge series coming up with South Alabama at the Dot. The games will be Friday at 6 p.m., Saturday at 3 p.m., and then Sunday at noon. So here's a great opportunity this weekend. If you can get yourself down to the Dot 1, 2, or 3 of those days, a great opportunity to cheer on these ladies. And then they will be traveling to Eastern Kentucky on Tuesday, and that'll be at 5 p.m.
So South Alabama is an absolute monster of a series because they are up there in the rankings in the Sun Belt Conference, and they are also pretty up in RPI. So if you can, because it's at home, we have not lost a game yet at home. We have a good shot of winning the series, picking up 2 out of 3, hopefully sweeping all 3. But that will help even more with the RPI that we have, but it will help us even more in the conference because, there's only a couple of teams that are have a chance to catch us for that top seed going into the tournament, and South Alabama is one of them. So it's massive. If you get over there and can make some noise, this would be a really good series to go do so.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Russ, that wraps up Around the Herd, brought to you by Layer 1 Solutions.
And Jed, thanks to Layer 1 Solutions, thanks to ignite.link, thanks to Leasure Oliver PLLC, or otherwise known as 304carrack.com. We just keep cranking out the information for you guys. We have what could be a really big episode looming later this week. We'll have more info on that as it happens. Don't want to put anything out that might not happen. But KD and I hope to have another episode, and that'll be 3 this week after doing 2 on Saturday for the spring game. So we just keep cranking it out, and it's thanks to our sponsors.
Out of all the complaints that people have about this podcast or can have about this podcast, you know for a fact it's not about that that the Thundercast doesn't put out enough episodes, because content daily. I mean, unless you're commuting an hour or a couple hours to work every day and back, you're gonna get your fill.
Yeah, we have plenty of content coming your way, and we're not going to stop, brother. We're just cranking it up. But anyway, I'm going to say that whether you see us at the Dot this weekend, whether you see us at the Jack when they come back, or whether you see us somewhere out in Louisville wearing some Marshall gear, no matter where you see us, we're going to be saying, "Go Herd." It's the Thundercast. We hope to see you in a day or two.